Yo, welcome to another episode of Under the Surface, a talk show where we talk all things Bazaar. Today we are going to talk about new cards that Mac got this season. They introduced a completely new playstyle, which is self-poison. We are going to review the items and tell you about synergies to look for. So without further ado, let's dive under the surface. Today, we are talking about Mac expansion pack. We've got 10 new items. In my opinion, those are like the most fun items in the whole card pool for Mac. I've had so much fun playing with self-poison build. I sort of don't want to play anything else right now.
I've been the exact same way. I'm always fishing for all the self-poison items. And I had like a slow femur build with Mac just like come together on accident. And I was disappointed. Even though it got to 10 wins, because that's not what I wanted to play.
It's hard to get 10 wins now, because usually you get Jabalian Drum Pig at the very end and you're just, back to the main menu. At least that was my experience. Like, Jabalian Drum is busted right now.
Yeah, there's certainly some like balancing that probably needs to be done, but a few of the Mac builds are pretty busted. They're just harder to pull together, I think.
Well, self-poison is fairly busted. I must admit, like, it's very good, though it has one very prominent weakness, and that is, well, fast weapons, which Jabalian Drum, well, is exactly that. You put up to 7 items like that are weapons on your board, preferably with multicast, and then you go bang, 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 I started blasting, Yeah, but if you can get into a more drawn-out fight, the self-poison builds are ridiculous. I even posted a quick build showcase last week, probably, when I was playing self-poison Mac build, because that fight was ridiculous. I'm not sure if you have seen that video.
Yeah, I saw it, but I need to watch it again to remember. I saw you were using like mirror to double up the number of, it's like the adrenal
converter. Yeah, there's jacket stuff. Yeah, let's look through the items that are, the main base of the build. Like Adrenal Converter and Rapid Injection System are, in my opinion, 2 items that have to be on your board. At least one, if it's going to be at least semi-decent.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I use the Adrenal Converter more, probably. Yeah, I mean, these are like probably the 2 best items. I also used a lot of Wild Quillback, which for some reason I thought was called William Quillback for way too long. I thought he had like a government name. Yeah, I was doing like Wild Quillback and Adrenal Converter and then Staff of Moose, and then you just try to poison yourself as much as possible with weapons, right?
Yeah, that's one way to do it, definitely. What I usually do, as I said, Rapid Injection System and Adrenal Converter are like my main things that I'm looking for. However, Wild Quillback, as you said, is also fairly useful, though it's not as great because it relies on your opponent to run weapons, and if they do not run weapons, then it's only like sustain piece, and like getting like up to, let's say, 5 regeneration at diamond without any buffs isn't that great, because all your other items usually already give you regeneration. Well, unless you have like Vital Renewal skill, which grants your regeneration items plus regeneration whenever you poison, haste, burn, all that stuff. So in that situation, Wild Quillback gets a bit better, but that's not because Wild Quillback is bad, it's because Vital Renewal is just a busted skill. Another item that's cool to have, I think, in that build is Venomous Dose, because it's like a small item with a quick cooldown. It can fairly often trigger Rapid Injection System, and on top of that, if you do have the Adrenal Converter on your board, every time you poison yourself, one of your items gets hasted. So having an item that fairly often grants you poison is, beneficial with that scenario. I think that Adrenal Converter is going to get, nerfed in some near future, because that haste is one of the best parts of the whole build.
The item's definitely a little bit strong. I really like Venomous Dose. It's just a good like enabler type item. I mean, it's like kind of fun to use early game too, just because of how, poisons both players, and then you gain you basically don't get poisoned because you gain regeneration. Yeah, I also found myself using what is it, optical augment occasionally. It's
Huh.
not ideal, I would say. Like a lot of times it's just kind of there, but it does give an item to the item to the left crit chance equal to your poison. So if you're gaining a lot of poison and you have items that are like getting buffed up crazy, I mean, hey, free crit basically if you don't have another item to put there. So,
True, but I think that's like one of the first targets to swap out for something else
yeah.
because like crit is cool, I agree, but I think there are better choices for a small slot.
And poisoning yourself immediately can also be good, but I still don't think it's good enough to like. It's kind of like a mid game thing that you have on your board for a bit, and then you swap it out. That's how I've been using it. Did you use test subject alpha like at all?
I don't think that's a good item. I don't think it's worth running in. I mean, maybe there's a build somewhere there hidden away that wants to use this item, but like if you want to run a large item on your board in a self-poison build, then Moose stuff is probably a bit better. Probably not even more than a bit better.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better. I really tried to make test subject alpha work in one build. It's just it's a cool looking item, and it's like, what is the lore behind this? But it's just not strong.
This looks like some mutated slug.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's your friend too. He's a friend too. That's what I love about him.
By the way, did you notice that piranhas are finally friends?
Yeah, and it's about time.
I mean, it feels weird, in my opinion. I understood why they weren't friends, and now that they are, I don't know, like something's off.
It's like a lot of the tags in this game will make you question, like, what is a tool, or like what should be considered a friend. So, but I kind of felt like considering there's a lot of things that are friends that don't look the nicest, I was kind of thought it was weird that they weren't friends, but
like,
it also makes Vanessa better.
Does every creature has to be friend? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
But I would like to go back to this like self-poison build. I'm focusing right now on non-weapon items because there are a couple of weapon items that we can cover later, because I think the self-poison build is the most fun when it's strictly non-weapon. So there are, besides those 4 items that are sort of crucial or like main pieces of that build, like Adrenal Converter, Rapid Injection System, Venomous Dose, and Wild Quillback in any configuration. But there are a couple of items that pair really well with those, like with this game plan, And first of all, that's Nightshade. And I think that's the most obvious choice, because it gets buffed every time you heal or get regeneration. And yeah, with self-poison build, you get regeneration very often. But in the same manner, there's also Oil Lamp, which gets charged every time you gain regeneration. And with that, you can put Oil Lamp next to your Rapid Injection System. And if you have also Wild Quillback on your board, then you can accelerate your build to absurd speeds. Like if you have like good, setup, you probably could make Oil Lamp go on very short loop.
That's interesting. I knew there had to be a way to use that item that with this new pack, but I couldn't really, I never really got the pieces to do it.
Yeah,
at the
it's
same time.
Not as obvious, but when you finally connect the dots, new vistas of possibilities, await you. Another item that pairs well with self-poison build is Ouroboros statue, because it says when you poison, gain regeneration. And it doesn't really care whether you poison yourself or your opponent, but it cares when you do both. So instead of just getting like 1 tick of regeneration, you get 2. So Ouroboros statue grants you dumb amounts of regeneration if you can, get it online.
Yeah, I never got it mine online when I tried it, but I fought a couple where it was just disgusting, and like there was no way you could beat them with how much regeneration they were building up. Well, another item I want to say is can be good with these builds is the spider mace. And it's a weapon, but I mean, you're poisoning so much. It's like you're poisoning twice with a lot of these items, so it's like just 2 procs of it right there. So if you have good damage going. I had a couple of builds where I was poisoning when I used the spider mace. I was poisoning twice, or poisoning myself, and then I would gain regeneration. It would get stronger, and it was just this loop. It's really, really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so we can now move over to weapon based, or not really weapon based, but like mixed self-poison builds, like weapon and non-weapon items at the same time on the board. Before I go back into the pack proper, I wanted to bring up Sunlight Spear, because this is really good item that counters other self-poison builds, because it cares about regeneration and burn on both players. But in this case, we are talking about the regeneration. So if you're running a self-poison build with the Sunlight Spear, you probably have a lot of regeneration. If your opponent runs a self-poison build, they probably have a lot of regeneration. And in that situation, usually one hit of Sunlight Spear ends them, because self-poison builds are really bad against giant weapons, because, you have sustain, yeah, but if you, let's say, have 5,000 health, and the opponent's Sunlight Spear deals like 20k damage, I don't think your regeneration is going to help in that situation.
I didn't think about using Sunlight Spear because I was kind of burned on using Sunlight Spear last season because it's too slow, right? But I didn't think about it being like your opponent's literally buffing your main weapon.
They are. I have been ended a couple of times by Sunlight Spear, and it's always really like sour to because even if you have like a better self-poison build, it doesn't matter, because that one item counters you.
That's so funny.
Yeah, you mentioned Spider Mace. Yeah, that's how it's called, right? Spider Mace. If you have that, you probably also want to have Infused Bracers on your board, because Infused Bracers grant you damage on your weapons equal to the amount you poison. Okay, I'm going to read this out because it's sort of confusing. When you poison yourself, your weapons gain plus damage for the fight equal to 1 times the amount poisoned. At gold, it's twice the amount of poison at diamond.
I say it also gives the weapon to the left of it lifesteal, which like completely saved some of my builds. So
yes,
yeah.
That's why you want to pair it with Spider Mace, because it's going to get buffed and it's also going to heal you. And if I'm not mistaken, lifesteal counts as heal now, so it's also going to remove some of your poison.
Yeah.
Actually, just a quick note, Wild Quillback really likes restorative, because whenever you use a non-weapon item, it heals you. So essentially you are removing, poison that you are dealing to yourself at the same time. If you get the opportunity, restorative Quillback, very good choice.
Good old William.
Yes. And I'm not sure if you knew, and I'm not sure if it's still in the game, but Infused Braces apparently were bugged, and supposedly they were giving this buff to weapons from the stash.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Apparently, if you got them in your stash and, you were self-poisoning during a fight, they were still giving your weapons buffs. You essentially had like 12-slot board.
Surely that's fixed, but
I'm not
that's
sure.
Insane.
Yeah.
I also want to say a quick thing that Adrenal Converter and Infused Bracers, the art goes really hard on these, because you can actually see it's like they're pumping themselves with poison to become stronger. I don't know. It's really,
yeah.
Just the concept is cool. I don't know. It's like getting yourself roided up.
Yeah, I agree. It reminds me of Bane from Batman. He also had these injections in his body. Do you like barbed claws?
Yes, I've used it a decent amount. It's not better than Spider Mace or whatever with a lot of the if you want to have a weapon on your board. It's pretty decent though if you're poisoning yourself, because it does get it gets 3 hits in every 5 seconds, which is pretty good. There's definitely other things I think you prefer.
Oh yeah.
I've ran it on 10-win builds before with just to get that 3 ticks of self-poison is not bad. I
like it as an early game weapon, especially if you get left-handed or right-handed or any way to buff its damage, because if you get multicast on it, then you are multiplying the damage that you added to this. So if you get barbed claws and venomous dose, that's easily 3 wins for your first 3 days. something like that.
Yeah, I've ran that quite a few times, that exact setup, because it's just kind of there a lot. The item that really sucks out of this bunch is fungal spores. I don't know if you've ran that at all, but like
Not really.
I really wanted it to work, but man, it's just like poison slow, and you have to wait 4 seconds to give your items like +2 poison. I don't know. It's just not doing anything. It takes too long to get going.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's definitely better than death caps, which do similar thing, but medium item. If you don't have anything else to put on your board and you are poison build, then it's all right, I guess. But I agree that it's not like insane item that you have to look for every run. I wouldn't call it like useless.
Yeah, I don't know. Just every time I try like have it on the board, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I'm always just annoyed with it. I feel like it could probably do a little more gain a little more poison or something for your items, but I don't know. Maybe it's fine where it is.
I mean, if you have an opportunity to swap it out for something else, you probably should. But as a 10th slot on your board temporarily can be all right. And I guess the last item that we still have not talked about is Peace Rot. I saw on Reddit a couple of, screenshots where people stacked it to obscene amounts, but I don't know, probably you have to have a specific setup to, get it online. And I admit I'm not that great with economic play, so I don't know, I haven't had any success with Peace Rot yet.
I think the first Mac game I played after unlocking the expansion, I got Peace Rot and was like, oh, I'm gonna make this work.
Did you?
No, it was a lot of effort to, it was hours of managing, what is it going to eat and how am I going to how am I going to get more value out of it, and then it just didn't come together. I feel like if you get it really high and then give it some enchant, you're probably could go crazy, because I assume it's based on the region it has.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I didn't get I don't even know if I got 7 wins with it on the board. And then I played the next game and did the typical Staff of the Moose self-poison thing. I'm like, why would I ever do that Peace Rot garbage? It took twice as long and I got half as far. It's a fun idea, but
I mean, first of all, it needs to destroy a weapon, so that's already limiting. And I don't know, you need to juggle this getting weapons, then going to merchants, and you probably are incentivized to visit more merchants than less merchants. There's a lot of moving pieces there, and it requires a lot of brain power to get it online. And sadly, that's not me. I like Ooga Booga self-poison adrenal converter.
It's if it does feel like playing a pig economy build, sort of, when you're doing it. And that's not really what I want when I'm playing Mac. But I know he's got a little bit of that with the reagents and all that stuff. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I usually try to get one catalyst spawning item at the beginning of the game, and then if I need to transform something, I usually have 1 or 2 catalysts in my stash. But going through the pains of buffing Peace Rot is probably not for me. But the idea, as you said, of the item is sound, and I think it gives a cool a game plan for people who are into that stuff.
I'm really excited to see what self-poison looks like after Mac has a few more expansions, because I feel like it could be expanded a lot. The idea of that could be expanded a lot. Who knows if they'll add more items for it right away, but it's a really cool build type, and that's my favorite by far, but it's also dominating the space right now. So we'll see if if it's still fun when it's not the best.
Definitely it's a good counter to Heal Pig, but as we have established, all the fast weapon builds definitely beat it to the ground. As always, there are good matchups and bad matchups, though in my opinion there are probably more good matchups than bad for this build.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So that's Mac expansion for you. I think we have covered everything, but if you have some notes of your own and you want to share with us some of the cool combos that you have come up with, then where the comments are. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here with us once again, you may leave a like, you may subscribe. I have seen that you have been subscribing, so thanks for that. The counter is ticking up. I'm really glad. I guess we'll see you all on Thursday on Blake's channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching again, and bye!
See ya.